My story. I'm white but my now ex-wife is Mexican, so I learned some Spanish. I was at a local taco shop ordering food. I said no when they asked if I wanted salsa. The guy behind me said something to his friends about how gringos couldn't handle real salsa. I turned and said, mi esposa es mexicana. Hacemos nos salsa, my wife is Mexican. We make our salsa. Guy said nothing but I heard his friends laugh as I was leaving. Friend's story. My old roommate was Russian. As in born in USSR Moscow Russian. We were outside a club in East Law when someone in our group bumped into a Russian. After that, the Russians were talking about whether or not they could take us and how easy it would be because Americans are weak. My friend who was from Moscow overheard this and gave us the nod. He went over the table and said in Russian they were more than welcome to try. After that, they moved on and went back inside. The group I was with was from my old Muay Thai gym. If we use Google Translate, can we still comment? What if I know every single Rammstein song since they became a band in 1990 and tell people I know German? A German girl did ask me one time if I knew what Hellfist was. I immediately said shark. Like I have been studying that shit 4 years or something lol. I have been living in the UK now for about 4 years and I can say that I am good with my English. With this, most people don't realize that I can speak Portuguese. Me and my friends went out to town to enjoy our holiday, so we decided to go out for lunch. We went to a pizza place and we ordered our food, then sat down at a table. These two girls walk in and they start speaking in Portuguese. They order their food, nothing much, and then they sit down behind us. I noticed that they were talking bad about me, so when we got up to collect our pizza, we were getting a takeaway, they were eating in. I turned to them and said, Espero que vos tenha bom dia, e que sua pizza seja boa, which means, I hope you have a good day and that your pizza is good. Their faces will forever be treasured. The story goes the opposite way, but it's still quite funny. I was in the public transport with one of my friend and we usually speak English in public to avoid weird looks when we swear or say something that should not be said in public. We live in a country where English is not very common, so we did not expect that a man in his 40s would turn around and tell us in English to stop swearing, because that's not what two teenage girls should do. We were bewildered. Some dumb English girls talked shit about my brother's shoes while standing in line in Disneyland Paris. Probably thought no one would understand English for some reason. His shoes were shit though. I am French and English-speaking person. In Canada, most people speak both. I went to France last summer and someone was saying things like, non mais quelli cani elle parle pas français. What about she does not speak French? So I turn around and says, salut petite sape. Maintenant, vas manger de la merde petite pie. Heiseltai, now that you know I speak French, go eat shit worry. Not me, but my AOS grandpa. He grew up in a small town in northern most of Norway, and he has a Finnish father, so he can speak quite good Finnish. He ran a grocery store in the middle of town, and there were often Finnish people in the store, but he rarely spoke, so they didn't know he knew the language. One time 4 Finnish workers were in there to buy lunch. At the time, his doctor helped out in the store. They made very harsh sexual comments on his dogther, my mother-in-law, in Finnish. Amongst, maybe we should stick around and rape her kinda, and laughed. They spoke loudly, so everyone heard them. He didn't flinch or say anything until they were about to pay. He just said, kinda, put the groceries down and get the fuck out of my shop before I stab you all and murder your entire families, in Finnish in a calm voice, and just smiled. They put the things down and walked out silent. I don't look very Arab. I have bright green eyes, light brown hair, and am taller than average. I got the opportunity to study in Germany, am currently 18 years old, and when I walked into the barber, they instantly knew I was American. Germany is filled with immigrants, and I got to learn that many of them are Arabs. I walked in and spoke with them in English, and they thought I was just some white America folk. They offered to cut my hair, and I sat there and the first thing they said in Arabic is, Do you think this dumbass is a Trump supporter? And you know damn well I said, I'm not that dumb to support Trump, but I am not as dumb as you for assuming I don't speak Arabic. Since then, he became my permanent barber. I was in the state of Georgia. I was with some white folks. We all decided that we should go for some Indian food. Everyone ordered their food. Some asked for mild, and some asked for spicy. The food arrives on our table, and the server yells out to another worker in Punjabi, which one is spicy, and which one is mild? The guy answers back, who cares, not like they will know the difference. Which was true, everyone loved the food, and on our way back to the hotel I told them what had happened and everyone had a good laugh. Friend and I speak English Spanish. For school, he took Spanish 1 and theses guys were saying, in Spanish, how he was American and did not know Spanish, many actually do, and other rude stereotypical comments. Halfway through the period they had presentations and he gave his in fluent Spanish, looked at them, and they had the most awkward eye contact. I'm a radio producer, and I sit in a separate room from the on-air host, but there's a large window between the two rooms so we can see each other during the show. One time during a talk show, our host, a guy I had been working with for about a year at this point, mentioned how he knew American Sign Language during the show. During the commercial break, I got his attention through the window and signed to him something like, I also know Assel. Do you have deaf? Do you have deaf means? Do you sign because you have a deaf loved one? And is a pretty common icebreaker in Assel. He just sort of smiled and nodded, looking like a deer in headlights. After the show, he came in my booth and admitted he actually didn't know sign language. He just knew this one phrase and went around saying he was actually fluent. I didn't yell at him or anything, but I definitely gave him a pretty sour face for that. I hope at least getting caught like that made him think twice about acting like he was fluent again. I sit in class looking if there is anyone I know sitting behind me. The dude tells to his friend in Arabic, what is this guy looking at? I answered back in Arabic, are you talking about me? The guy turns red as fuck and his friend bursts out laughing. I'm Lebanese, but I do not look Lebanese at all, and everyone is shocked when I tell them where I'm from. I am half German, half Swedish, but have lived in Belgium ever since I was born. Therefore, I speak fluent German, Swedish, French, and English. During my teenage years, I had the opportunity to live in Canada for a year. The school I went to had a couple of German and French exchange students. When I was approached and asked, I'd take the time to explain them my rather confusing background, but after doing so for a while, it became a little exhausting to do so, and I began to give out half answers depending on the person asking. To Canadians, I would always say that I am Swedish. To German students, I'd tell them that I came from Belgium. When a French exchange student approached me, I'd tell them I was German. This caused for many funny stories by the end of the year, when I would slowly reveal myself to my friends. Often the reactions were priceless, and I have to say that I was quite proud of the mischief I was able to create. Minor context. I'm Greek, but my English is nearly impeccable, accent and all. I'm not that big, but you can tell I pack a punch, and my dad was a pretty strong guy too at the time. So, a restaurant manager in Paris was advertising his Greek restaurant in English. He tried to get me and my family to come in, but since we have Greek food every single day, we politely refused. He probably thought I was just a random tourist and called me an asshole in Greek while maintaining the fake smile they always have. I quickly turned around with the "you are already dead" stare and said in Greek, I dare you to repeat that. His eyes got wider than plates and his smile faded. He stopped talking until we left. When we got a bit farther, I just started laughing with my parents. Finally, one I can't answer. So my sister and I took the train from Switzerland to Italy to visit our grandparents. We both are fluent in Swiss, German, and Italian. Enter a 40 woman and her teenage daughter, which both looked like Barbie, except for some excess kilograms in the wrinkles on one of them. They openly began to criticize our appearance, the stuff we were talking about, etc. in a very condescending and nasty way. Like really nasty. Since we were in Switzerland at the departure and we spoke German, they assumed we didn't understand Italian. More fun for us. Fast forward to passing the border. My sis looks at me with a grin that would have made the Cheshire Cat envious and asks me, should I show the border guard the Swiss id or should I show them the Italian one? Barbies went silent, pale, then red, then pale again and didn't speak one more word for the rest of the train ride.